real high-class stuff. It's on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us is the Colonel himself, Colonel Panic Joe Wilson.
Hello.
Jeez. Every time you do that, it throws me off. I don't know.
Well, it's weird because like when I'm doing it, it's like, oh, it doesn't sound like it came out of my mouth.
And last but not least is our Mandalorian sour cream himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
God damn you.
Come on, you knew that was coming.
I did, and I still hate it.
We just spent like 20 minutes.
I regret reminding you about this.
It's never going away. It's never going away. Everybody have a good week, good weekend, good week, good day.
Yeah, pretty good.
I put up an entire IKEA wall unit over the weekend. That was a lot of fun leveling and measuring.
That's fun.
I went couch shopping yesterday.
Ooh.
Nice.
Where at?
Went to IKEA. We went to a couple local places.
Did
I found a very soft couch, not at IKEA.
Did your IKEAs have the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 cutouts to measure your furniture with?
They did.
Ooh.
They have not been stolen yet.
Why didn't they just get those those fake ones that everyone else got, where it's just the case of it, like just the outside? They should have give something like that to places so they can actually
I feel like those would be more likely to be stolen.
They would absolutely be stolen.
Yeah.
Like, speaking as somebody who would love one of those fake ones, they would be stolen.
Yeah.
Just think about all the videos you can
I'm
make
just
if you had a
saying.
fake one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like me
But
taking
I
a
mean,
bath
they're
with it.
accurately sized. Like, they look like them just without like logos on it. They're just heavy duty, like
Cardboard
not
boxes?
plastic, but yeah, like
Yeah.
a heavy duty cardboard though. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
and it shows like the exact dimensions are written on them and everything. And I was like, oh, this is great.
Okay.
But these are where I will actually buy living room furniture though, because I'm not buying a TV stand at IKEA. Like, more than likely.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
I like them. It's just like they don't go with the furniture I already own. We have
We
like,
bought our couch from an online place called Article. It's terrific. Look it up.
Here's the problem. I like to test couches before I get them.
You get 60
Yeah.
days.
Oh, okay.
You send it back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some fridge and stove shopping here soon, because both our fridge is junk and our stove one day just decided while we were cooking to shut off and say that it's getting too hot. It's not able to regulate the temperature, and so it just shut off. So yeah, so our money that we got is gone from the government already.
Wow. I watched the Browns lose today against the Kansas City Chiefs.
I did too.
I watched
I
the
was
Mavs
rooting
lose
for
to the
them.
Bulls for the
Yeah.
second time this month.
Yeah, sorry, that's embarrassing.
It's not great. We also don't have a full roster. We had like 8 people playing today because everybody else is in COVID protocol. Put us back in the goddamn bubble. Adam Silver, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just rent out Disney World for a few months.
Yeah, nobody else is going.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying, come
COVID
on.
patients.
Yeah, that's
Listen,
like a benefit.
They were talking the other day on the news about Disneyland being a vaccination center, and let me tell you something. I want to be riding Rise of the Resistance, and halfway through have the ride stop when it inevitably breaks down, and have a healthcare worker from Orange County walk out and be like, "All right, guys, come on, it's time for the intermission."
Or just like,
Come on.
They drop from the ceiling.
I
like
want
a
somebody in
SWAT
a
team.
stormtrooper outfit to give me my vaccine.
I want Kylo Ren to give me my vaccine.
Yeah,
Well,
there you-
That animatronic gets really fucking close to your face. So
I know. He could jab it in your neck. I'm just saying.
Dude, just like when they have you exit the ship to go get in line to do the actual ride portion, just have them standing there and be like, "Hey, if you don't get your microchip, you don't get to go."
Yeah.
Do you guys think that we will feel the same way about the most recent trilogy as we do the prequel trilogy in like 5-10 years?
No.
No.
This sequel trilogy is way better than the prequel trilogy.
I think the people,
Not disputing, but
it's
definitely not great.
Younger than us will be a lot more nostalgic for it.
As someone,
For example, like I didn't understand how bad the prequels were as a kid because I really liked them. It was more Star Wars. And then I became a teenager and went to college and was like, these movies are shit. Mm-hmm. And then I got older and I sat through The Rise of Skywalker and went, well, they're still bad, but they're not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I'm in a weird place with them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really know what it is exactly about the way I feel about, all of it, but like this new trilogy, I could look past things a little bit more because I think I was entertained overall by them. Whereas that prequels, I just was bored half the time watching them. Like, I just didn't care about what was going on, to be honest.
See,
I actually cared about the newer ones.
I
Like,
feel
what
that
was
way about
actually
You don't want to
going on.
see a courtroom, a Senate drama, and a trade dispute play out for
I do.
8 hours?
Well,
I do.
I'll be,
it doesn't
don't
C-SPAN
get me wrong.
exist?
Don't get
They
me
should
wrong, though.
No joke. They should do a C-SPAN parody of just the Republic arguing,
Yeah.
but literally just do it the whole, do it for a really long time. I'm just talking about stuff. Have nothing happen.
I would
Color.
watch 3 seasons of that.
Just bring
commentators.
ET in, right? ET was in the prequels, right?
E.T. has a split-second cameo in The Phantom Menace, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here's the thing. I feel like the prequels, as bad as they are, there was at least an overarching story that George Lucas was trying to tell and planned out beforehand. The sequel trilogy, they let every person make up their own mind on what to do. So J.J. Abrams creates the mystery box. And we all know he's notorious for leaving shows the second he does the pilot. He just keeps that creator and EP credit. He never does anything else with it.
Great start. Always a great start.
Yeah, so Force Awakens. Not a great 7th movie in a series, but it's a great beginning of a trilogy, in my opinion.
I still think
Then you have The Last Jedi, probably the most divisive blockbuster of the last 20 years, easily. Which I personally love. It's exactly what I want from Star Wars.
I liked it a lot.
So, you either love it or you hate it. There's really no in between. And then you have The Rise of Skywalker, which had so many problems behind the scenes. You have Carrie Fisher passing away before it comes out. You have the original director and writing team getting fired. And then we decide that the solution is to let J.J. Abrams have unprecedented control over a Star Wars movie and bring in the writer of Batman vs. Superman to help him. That's what we decided the solution was collectively.
I feel like
and bring Emperor Palpatine back again.
I feel like The Rise of Skywalker, regardless of what you think about it, should have probably been 2 movies.
Oh, easily. It easily should have. If they had extended that into a 9 and 10, if they had come out and been like, hey guys, we have too much story, we were too ambitious, we got to do an episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been annoyed, but I could have lived with it. I would have just been like, they want more money. This is Star Wars. Of course you do. That movie barely cracked $1 billion, and that shocks me. Can you imagine if that doesn't come out, though, in December 2019? And when COVID starts shutting things down in February, if that movie's not out, that's the greatest what if. We're all just sitting here for the last year wondering what this movie is going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then imagine that being what you get after all that time.
I don't know. As somebody who's not super attached to Star Wars, I had a good time with everything Disney has put out so far.
Yes. And
I do think there.
I'm a fan of
to
Star
settle
Wars,
the
but I'm...
differences in the fandom.
No, The Rise of Skywalker, I have no clue what happened in that movie, but it was still fun.
To this day, it's the only Star Wars movie I've only ever seen one time, and that was in the theaters. To this day.
I watched
And
it
that's
on.
a very weird feeling for me.
We watched
It's the
it.
only one I don't own.
We watched it over 3 days on Disney Plus while my kid was napping.
That's how I
I've
watch
never
Wars are
seen,
good
I've never
sleeping
seen a
movies.
crowd so angry at a movie when I've gone to leave,
Hmm.
as I did with the Rise of Skywalker.
I saw a very angry crowd when I left the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie.
Oh God. Oh, I just had. Oh my God, that thing's 20 years old.
There was a guy,
Mark
that
Wahlberg.
when the credits started rolling, the screen changed and everything. There was a guy that looked like, I just turned to my right, and there was a guy there, and he happened to turn to his left, and he just looks me, and I don't know how old I was. I wasn't that old, but he was like, "What the fuck was that?" I don't know.
I still remember seeing the OG Avengers movie when it came out, and I had tickets to see it at midnight. This back when they still did midnight releases, not 7 p.m. releases. I had tickets to see it in IMAX, and the job I had at the time was at a sports arena, and they wouldn't let me leave to go to the movies, even though I had tickets, because it was a playoff game for the Mavs. So I finished all my cleaning, did all my paperwork, booked it to the theater, and they wouldn't let me in because it was 15 minutes after it started. So I went home, turned off my phone, because I just knew I was going to get calls and texts at 3 o'clock in the morning. Went back to the same theater at 7 a.m. to see it at the very first showing, and at the end of it, when Thanos appears, the lady behind me very loudly goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And I had to stand up because the theater has no idea what's going on, and give an information session to a group of people who have no idea why Grimace is in space, explaining to them who Thanos is and what we're about to see over the next 5 to 10 years.
You know what's funny? I'm going to pause you for a moment, because right now there's a conversation that's still happening from one of the people in that audience, and they're like, and this motherfucker just stands up and just starts explaining the whole history like somebody asked him. That's a story that gets passed around about you that you're unaware of.
Yes.
You know what? I'm okay with that, because for
You
so
should be.
many of the post-credit scenes in Phase 2, I had to do that. And then people started learning what Google was, and I didn't have to do it anymore. It was fantastic. I only had to
You
explain it.
should be proud of that.
I am proud of that. I
Yeah,
live on in somebody's
there's
subconscious.
There's a
One of the-
Yamada Zero in the chat says, I hope you explain to them that he was a character who did nothing wrong.
Listen, back in 2012, we didn't know what Thanos' goals were, okay? But he did try to wipe out life on Earth and subjugate everybody to slavery. So,
Turns out that still is happening. It's just not a magical thing. It's COVID. So,
but
What-
it still wins.
One of my
that's
one
why
of my-
Captain America's so depressed when they go into the future in Endgame.
So hold on, I'm gonna ask a question, because we just watched Civil War recently. Again, my 5-year-old is really getting into Marvel now, and to the point that he's following the stories.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Every time I watch Civil War, and I realize that there's a mistake at the very end, but does anybody else kind of side with Tony Stark in that movie?
Thank you!
I feel like so you guys should just listen to him a little bit.
From day one, Team Tony, baby. Team Iron Man.
Yeah.
Even when I
Yeah,
rewatched it, I thought that in the theater. I rewatched it, and I was like, I still kind of feel like Iron Man was right most of the time.
Hashtag Tony Stark did nothing wrong. Because here's the thing. How would you react if you found out? Because put aside the fact that Captain America thinks he's doing the right thing, it's literally only because it's Bucky Barnes. That's the
Correct.
reasoning they give in the movie. Not like in the comic. In the comic, Captain America is arguably right. Okay? In this, though, he's literally willing to do this for Bucky Barnes.
Mhm.
That's it. Bucky is still brainwashed, too.
Yep.
It is such a bizarre thing. It's terrible. And let's be honest, before 2006, when Civil War was published, nobody gave a flying fuck about Captain America or Iron Man. Nobody. They were not
Dude,
cool when I was
I didn't even
growing
know
up.
who Iron Man was when that movie came out.
Iron Man was a C-list at best character.
I liked Iron Man.
Well, it's because Marvel got rid of all
Iron
their
Man
best
was always my
characters.
favorite.
Like Marvel could,
They sold them off to save the company.
yeah.
The only character I played in Marvel versus Street Fighter was Iron Man.
Yeah.
Anytime Iron Man was in a game, he was always my go-to character. He is to this day still the only character in the Marvel universe that I really, really care about.
It's just nutty. Like they took and they made like the most successful movie franchise of all time, not called Star Wars, and did it with a whole bunch of C and D list characters. Like the Hulk was the most well-known character of the OG 6 Avengers.
Mhm.
The Hulk, and that was because of the horrible Eric Bana movie.
Mm-hmm. That and the
Eric
fact that he's
Bana?
just the Hulk.
Eric Bana in
Yeah,
2003
Hulk in-
was the Hulk.
No,
Huey
I know,
Bowles
but
Hulk.
isn't it Bana? Eric Bana?
Bana. I've heard it pronounced both
Oh.
ways.
Banana Fana Fofana.
Corey, what's our question from Greg?
I have an immediate answer for this question. It is the only.
I'm
Yeah,
getting us
me
back
too.
on track
All right, guys.
Me
So,
before I get us more off track.
as everybody knows, we always answer a question from our food guru, you would call him, Greg Osterman III. He says, "Hello, Arsenal X panel. It's me again, your boy Greg. What is the best appetizer? Simple as that."
Joe, you said you had an answer.
Yeah.
Please
cheese sticks.
enlighten me.
Cheese
Cheese
sticks.
sticks.
What?
Mozzarella cheese sticks, man. That is a classic appetizer.
Classic,
Thank-
but the best?
Yeah.
Listen, you
I would argue that Southwestern spring rolls are the best.
No.
I mean, like,
Or a good crispy
cheese
bloomin'
curds are always good, but
a good
Oh, you're gonna steal
crispy bloomin' onion.
yeah, that's what I would go with. It's gotta be from Texas Roadhouse though.
Oh,
it
no,
can't be
it's
from that.
gotta-
It can't be from that
No.
shitty Outback place.
No, it's got to be from Outback.
No, Outback
see,
is garbage.
I think if
Texas
he's asking
Roadhouse
for the
is
best,
garbage.
Like, I can't go to Eaton Park and be like, "Can you get me a bloomin' onion from Texas Roadhouse?"
Who's going to
it's
Eaton
the-
Park? What is this,
Yes, I would,
1997?
'cause it's like right by my house.
You get those big
Dude,
smiley face
I've got
cookies?
two.
Texas
I've got two
Roadhouse
here.
Bloomin' onion is so much better, especially the sauce you dip it in.
Joe, you
First
get
off,
you
for-
getting
for my
those?
one-
You getting those big smiley face cookies?
No, they're fucking hard, man.
I
my my 1C, my 1A that I'm going with is Team Joe. I'm going mozzarella sticks. Okay, get that with like the right amount of marinara sauce. You can't beat it. But
Wisconsin. I
the
don't
other
eat mine with
the
marinara.
other appetizer that I love, however, and it has to be from the right place. Like it's got to be at a fresh seafood joint, like on the coast. We can't get it in Texas. It's so bad. Give me some fried calamari. If that is cooked
guys are eating.
correctly, that is fucking delicious.
That's too fancy for me.
It's not fancy. It's like $5, Corey.
Yeah.
I gotta
so
tell you,
Class.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna go with Joe on this one with the cheese sticks. Between those two, cheese stick, but with ranch dressing, not marinara.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
So-
what's wrong with you?
I don't like. Look,
Ranch is gross.
I don't
Oh
like.
my god!
I don't
Gosh,
like.
you have not had good ranch dressing then, and I feel
No,
weird.
I haven't. It's all
Dude,
gross.
let me tell you, I don't do anything like Italian food. Really, I can't do it. I don't like Italian food.
Oh God.
Are
Okay.
you happy?
God,
Are you
let's just-
happy,
let's-
Greg? Are you happy?
Guys, this is Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast.
No, we're still talking
Or
about
no.
food here. You know what else is good though?
We're leaving. Corey doesn't like Italian food. We have to end the question now.
You know what else is good though? I like a good fried pickle, and I like a good fried green bean.
Jesus fuck, what is wrong with you?
Fried green bean.
Have you never had fried green beans?
No.
Oh, they're so good.
Corey, I want to live past 35.
Well,
Does it have
so do I. I only got a year though.
breading on it,
Yeah, it's breaded.
or is it battered?
It's vegetables,
It's
though.
it's breaded.
I don't think those are vegetables, Jesse. I don't think those count as those are cholesterol fingers. Okay.
I also like a good quesadilla, like an app
Okay,
quesadilla.
quesadillas are
It's an
fine.
appetizer. I have a deep dish pizza. It's my appetizer.
Right? Like Corey's just like inching his way into entrees in an effort to save the topic.
Yeah. I'll have some. What are those? The small burgers. The
Sliders.
Sliders.
Yeah, sliders.
Assume we're eating at a buffet, right? I'll just have a steak.
I'll have a funny face.
I do agree with you though. I do like a good mozzarella stick or cheese curds.
When the cheese curds are good too.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese balls? Do you ever have cheese balls?
No, those
They're cheese curds, but they're made
More
the same
healthy.
shape. They're uniform.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more processed
Yeah.
cheddar. No
Speaking
one
of,
said jalapeno popper.
I'm not into jalapeno
Those are
poppers.
good, but I
Not,
like those though only if the jalapenos are diced up in the cream cheese.
To have the jalapenos
Yeah,
slide
and you
out
just
of this little
rip it.
sock.
If we go to now, if we go to the dine-in movie theater in town, then I like to get the soft.
Dine-in
I like to get
theater.
the soft pretzel bites.
Yeah, soft pretzel bites are good.
It's fancy. All right, guys. Speaking of processed foods, this is the Arsenal X podcast, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games, where each and every Sunday night live on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Games Live, we discuss the world of Xbox with our friends from around the internet. If you can't join us live, you're going to head on over to youtube.com/Boss Rush Games and podcast services every Tuesday to check out the show. Leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Rate and subscribe to Arsenal X wherever you're listening. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on Twitch. All that stuff. Follow us on Twitter at Arsenal X Podcast. It really helps. You can catch the Boss Rush Games family of shows on bossrushgames.com. We just want to jump into the news.
Just go straight in.
Because I feel like
do
if we
it.
don't do it, it's just look. This show's never going to end if we
not
don't
gonna
just do
happen.
it. So, major news coming out this week. Josh and I talked about 25-ish minutes earlier this week on YouTube. You can go to Boss Rush Reacts and check it out. We talked about Lucasfilm Games being reformed, and we're getting a Machine Games developed Indiana Jones game and a Ubisoft open world Star Wars game, which means no more exclusive EA Star Wars, guys.
Finally.
Yay!
So let's go this way first. Ubisoft's open world Star Wars game. Pretty big deal because we are not getting exclusive games from EA anymore, but also Massive, which is the developer of The Division, is handling it. How do we feel about that?
I feel fine.
I'm gonna let Jesse and Joe talk about this since Corey and I already did some impressions, and I'll chime in at the end.
I'm having a really hard time with like knowing how I feel about this yet. Like there's so many different ways, right, that they could go with it, and until I really have an understanding or an idea of exactly what that means, if it means they're going to like try to do like the Marvel, Avengers game type thing, or if it's gonna be like actual like more like a Witcher or something where it's just very 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 deep in lore and like not just throwing mechanics in there just for the sake of trying to make it a game. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel Avengers does, like in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for me to either be excited or, like honestly, I'm more excited about the other thing we're gonna talk about later. In my opinion,
I mean,
that's just because I don't know much of what it's exactly going to be. And
I mean, you
we've
do though, right? Like, I mean, it's a Ubisoft open world game, so it's going to be that, and it's massive, so it's probably going to be. I mean, I feel like it's going to be The Division, but Star Wars, which makes that game infinitely more interesting than The Division.
Yeah,
I think that the least interesting part about The Division, or let me roll back a little bit further and say that the Division is a fun game. I played both the Division 1 and the Division 2. Basically played through until I captured all the points, got to the end game, did like 1 or 2 runs at like those things, and then was just like, okay, I'm done. Yep. And the reason why is because essentially it is like a game that it revolves heavily around loot, in which that there is no interesting loot. It's it's grounded too much in reality, I think, to have fun. Even when they start to have fun with it, it's just it's a lot of the same stuff. It's very repetitive in its creative endeavors. Not necessarily like the gameplay mechanics of the Division are very solid. I like the world that they like that you live in, like the kind of like dirty world, which lends itself very well to Star Wars. So I feel like just making it, if you were to literally just say we're going to make a Division game, but it's going to have a Star Wars skin on everything, that solves like one of the 2 major problems with the Division instantly. And then you have all the other lore and stuff that you can incorporate into it. If that game were to be like my ideal version of it, would be like it's like, because we were just talking.
Destiny, but in Star Wars world.
I actually think that the better Star Wars game is a third-person game than it would be a first-person game. So I like the third-person aspect. I would love to have like a bounty hunter-centric game where you go and you collect bounties. You have to go and capture them. You can do like the whole like dead or alive thing depending on what you get. You take more challenging bosses down that leads into other stuff. I like the dark, gritty. What was that? What was the canceled Star? Was it? It was like 1313.
Yeah.
I want more of that feeling in an open world game. If I have an open world game, I want it to be mostly like at night type of game, or at least a day-night cycle that I can experience both equally. But I think it's a good pairing if that's what they if that's the route they're going.
Yeah. I talked about this with Corey and Joe. I'm on the exact same page as you. That's what I said. Like, I enjoyed the Division 1 and 2, but there wasn't a narrative there to keep me engaged. And with the recent events that we talked about on this show and on the whole network, I think the Division series is dead. Frankly, if it's not, it should be after this. It's just hit a little too close to home. This is the perfect kind of game, I think, for Massive, though, if they can get the right writing team, which I suspect, I feel like I know someone who may be working on it. One of the writers of some of the novels in the universe has alluded to she's working on a multimedia project that does not involve writing a book or a comic, which leaves only 2 things, which is a TV series or this. I think the question is, where do you set it at in the timeline? Because I think this is a game, like, I don't think you're going to have Jedi running around as playable characters in this. If you do, you got to find a way to balance that, or like let everybody make their own class, you know? But I really do feel like this is going to be like a bounty hunter smuggler style game, which would kind of be a fusion of 1313 and Amy Hennig's canceled single player game with Visceral. I think it's got to be a marriage of those ideas, because we know Disney was really upset about that game getting canceled. About all these single-player story-driven games getting canceled. Like, they want to grow the larger universe. I think the most important thing you do is, though, you do not set it in the original trilogy. The closest to the original trilogy you can get with this is, I'm going to say, the Mandalorian's time frame. Like, I speculated about this with Corey. I think it would be really cool to have Din Djarin show up as, like, an AI ally for a mission or 2, like maybe like towards the peak of the game, like he shows up to help, or he's an end game quest giver, he narrates a raid for you, something like that. I think would be really cool. Use him. Bring in Carl Weathers. Like, come on, what else is he doing right now other than the Mandalorian? You know, like get some of this talent that you have in this universe. But more importantly, I would love for this to be set like 200-300 years before the Phantom Menace, like out in the unknown regions or something, or out in the Outer Rim. Like, give me that gritty Star Wars. Are we going to go to different planets? Like Massive has said, this is going to be unlike anything we've done before. Well, but we know Ubisoft, they've said that before, and they still keep coming back to the same core gameplay.
What if they did it about the like whole like kind of more earlier of the Mandalorian, like, you know, like the storylines, but like, you know, like completely leave the whole saga of what the first Star Wars movies we're doing, like, because I mean, ultimately the whole Mandalorian stuff was all happening on its own accord. Like, it had nothing to do really with, like the main story. Like, like actually learn more about, how there was that faction, that had the whole "this is the way," and were much more of like a religious thing than some of the other ones, and like kind of dive into a lot of that stuff.
The one thing that I would say is, and the reason why I want it to be more of a bounty hunter game, or more based around that, is I want to create my own fucking character.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let me create my character. Mm-hmm. Let me decide, like, let me get armor. Let me decide what that looks like. Let me live in, like, that galaxy far
Let me
far
pick
away.
from one of, like, 15 different alien races or something.
You already got models for them.
Let me be a Wookiee bounty hunter.
That was, like, one of the most disappointing things about Battlefront, is they had so many characters to choose from, but none of them were the one I wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pick.
Like, I think you have to do that. Like, there is a demand for it, and one of the things I saw getting pointed out was that EA basically never had a desire to make that, like, cooperative online experience, and no, the Old Republic does not count. That absolutely does not count whatsoever. Like, EA, since they acquired the Star Wars license, has done nothing on that front. Battlefront and Battlefront 2 is about the extent of... Squadrons is about what you got. Like, I want a game where I hang out with 3 or 4 friends and we're roaming the galaxy as a guild. Imagine establishing your own bounty hunters guild. Like, that's the kind of stuff I want to see, but I want it far enough removed to where I'm not getting characters from the movies and from the shows popping up every 10 minutes.
Like, Knights of the Old Republic did a good job at that.
Mm-hmm. Like, part of the charm of the old Star Wars games is doing them set aside from the narratives of the games. Like, you'd have somebody who, or from the narrative of the movies, you'd have somebody who showed up for like 5 minutes. Like in Bounty Hunter, in the Jango Fett game, Count Dooku was ultimately the guy at the very end of the game. He was recruiting you to be the template for the clone army. Other than that, completely unconnected, because it takes place around the time of the Battle of Naboo, 10 years before the clone army is real. Like, you had things like that, like the Clone Wars game, completely separate. Like, it's a narrative in between movies. Do things like that, like, not specifically like that because those are really bad examples, but give me something that doesn't have to tie into a movie or a show or a comic series. Like, just give me something that stands on its own, man. I don't want Darth Vader in this game. I don't want Luke Skywalker. I don't want fucking Kylo Ren. I want nobody who's been in these movies. I don't want Yoda showing up because he's a billion years old.
Mm-hmm. Those things should be untouchable to whoever your character is. Like, the people in that Star Wars world, like, the Jedi are always like this myth thing. It's like, because there's only a handful of them when you think about how big the galaxy is, where you're traveling from planet to planet that has, like, supports life. Like, it's big, it's vast. Make it feel that way.
Give me, if you're gonna do this game, like, not to cut you off, Joe, like, I want to see when the Jedi were in their heyday, though. That's part of what this whole Old Republic initiative, or High Republic, whatever it's called, they're doing, that's set 200 years before the movies is doing. This is before the Jedi were decimated. This is when they were, like, numbered in, like, hundreds of thousands or millions. Like, they are roaming the galaxy, patrolling it. Like, give me that. Show me a Jedi who gets corrupted, who's, like, falling to the dark side, and we have to pull him out of it or something, or we have to fight him. Like, we have to fight a fallen Jedi. How fucking cool would that be? And all you got is your guns and your gadgets?
Or
hell
what if you are a bounty hunter and you have to fight a good Jedi? Like,
I'd be okay with it. Blur the lines.
Yeah. That's the thing, is, like, like I've said before, ultimately Rogue One is one of my favorite of the movie, like my favorite movie personally. And, like, I liked that it took something that we knew characters in it, but we really didn't know what they had to go through in order to get to the point of what happened. And, like, that's definitely what I want a game to do, is take something that we don't know a whole lot about unless we read every single bit of, like, comic or book or whatever that exists, and just really show us why we should care about some of these things that happen that the original movies don't really show us a whole lot about, or shows or whatever, like they can base it around things that we have, but they don't have to let that property make the game. They can take what we slightly know a little bit about and like actually let us live that stuff. Like that for me is I think, like why I liked, I mean, it is what it is, but I liked the Unleashed games and stuff like that. The Force Unleashed and like those kind of things where you kind of just got to make your own character or whatever and, kind of do your thing. But yeah.
But what are they going to put on the box? Sorry.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Like the old NES cartridge boxes where it just says, basically it was just a cover. It'll sell.
The fact that it's a non-EA game, it's already going to sell bonkers.
Yeah. People are already
from the makers
more
of from the studio that brought you to Division 2, like people will buy it.
Yeah.
Just don't lean too hard into the Division part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they just do a good balance of like what people would expect from someone that's made the Division, and then you put a Star Wars theme aside of it, that's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
So yeah. I just want a good Star Wars game. Like obviously we all kind of like the loot game, right? Like Destiny. 3 of us play Destiny pretty regularly. Like the Division was okay, I like the Assassin's Creed games for what they are. Like I don't mind the loot game. Just make it fun, make it cool, make it feel good. Like if I could play any type, like a bounty hunt, like Josh said, like a bounty hunting game, or just roam the galaxy with friends and feel like we're part of a team trying to take down this big thing, like that, like that'd be cool.
Yep.
But the other big game that was announced this past week was Machine Games' Indiana Jones game. Machine Games is pretty good at making games about killing Nazis, so I guess that's
that's their specialty.
Yeah, that's
10 out of 10 studio. Coming next, Inglourious Bastards, the RPG.
Hey, I'd play it.
Hey, man.
I would too.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I'd buy that day one.
Killing Nazis.
Do it like the new Yakuza Like a Dragon game where you play it like a
JRPG.
turn-based. Yeah, where you like I want to hit him with the baseball bat and then you click on it.
To me this is a little bit more like maybe we don't know exactly what it's going to be than the Ubisoft open world game.
I would agree.
Right? I mean, we can assume it's going to be a somewhat linear game, right? We can assume we're clearly playing as Indiana Jones and probably dealing with some Nazis and some, religious magic.
I expect there to be a fair amount of exploration in this game, though. Like, as much as it's going to be kind of linear, I expect this to be more open world than Machine Games' past games. Maybe, like, take what you did in Youngblood, but, like, amp that up by, like, 3 or 4 times. Like, a much better world. Because I think that was a really good example of how to do a linear game in an open world.
Well, what I was thinking was more like Uncharted Lost Legacy, with those kind of larger open segments that you can kind of,
I want to be able to go back through these areas, though, because, I mean, we all know, like, indie tends to stay, not necessarily in one area, but, like, the movies will take, like, a giant chunk of it will be in, like, one area. Like, Raiders is, in Cairo, for example. Like, and we know this is going to be completely different from any other indie story that we've gotten before. So we're probably not going to Egypt. We're not going to find the fucking Holy Grail. Like, I don't know what you do with this. Like, God, you get Harrison Ford to come voice Indiana Jones again. Like,
so
there's so many cool things that can happen here.
Do you guys remember the Indiana Jones game that was on the original Xbox?
Yeah,
yes.
Corey and I were talking about that on Thursday.
I actually just bought it because I think I'm going to try to play through it or stream it or something, because that
Is
seems...
it backwards compatible?
Yes, I just bought it. I just got it on the digital storefront for $10.
Nice. So that game is actually pretty great from what I remember, but the real key part of it is that they had Harrison Ford's voice like double, the guy that like does all of his redubs, do the voice in this thing. So it was a little uncanny valley, but it was pretty close. I mean, it's a guy that studies how to do that voice.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern is what you just said, is that given the fact that technology has come so far, and like you're not going to have that blur of like 480i resolution or 720p like low res graphics to like mask a lot of these mistakes, that like if you are, it can't be like the Avengers game where it's just like, oh, it kind of looks like the guy that I know.
Yeah,
he kind of sounds like him, but not really.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna just map his face over.
Yeah,
because there's no way, and I mean, he at his age, he shouldn't like consent to doing all the mocap for it.
Yeah,
sure.
But I'd be very surprised if they didn't, pull Mark Hamill with them, map his face over.
Yeah.
Get one of these professional CGI doubles or something.
You mean like Industrial Light and Magic, or
Well, I mean, like for an actor.
Yeah.
Like, you go get one of these guys who's a pro, who's like a stand-in for like action scenes in games or something. For a generic bad guy number 4 getting thrown off the building, but have him be Indiana Jones instead. I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of avenues you can go with that, but obviously, like, we're gonna find out what they're doing as it goes along. Like, Corey and I both think this is coming out probably next summer in 2022 to coincide with movie number 5, assuming that doesn't get pushed back again. But I mean, Bethesda doesn't like to announce projects before they're like imminent. Like, we got Skyrim announced a year before it came out. We got Fallout 4 6 months before, if you don't count the leaks. Fallout 76 6 months before. Dishonored a few months before. Wolfenstein's, etc. Like,
yeah, but I don't think this wasn't so much a Bethesda announcement as it was a Lucasfilm's game announcement.
Right, but at the same time, Bethesda also has to give the approval. Like, yeah, we're ready for you guys to talk about this. Like, as the studio making it, and like revealing Todd Howard's involvement and whatnot, knowing that the sale is coming up, like, this had to have been planned a long time ago. They can't do anything that'll alter their stock price. So shareholders likely knew about this and were sworn to secrecy. At least, like, they're big stakeholders. That is not like the guy who owns 3 shares of stock or something. You know?
Leave me out of this.
The guys who own I don't know, like a sizable stake, like a couple percentage points or something or more. There's no way that Microsoft didn't, like, I mean, obviously they knew about this when they were trying to make the deal, and I do think them finding out about this probably made them go, yep, that's it, we'll pay whatever you guys want. Like, that, so, honestly, having that license probably drove the price up a little bit too.
I'm sure it did. Now, what kind of game do we just kind of assume this is going to be some sort of like Uncharted style third-person action exploration, shooty bang bang game?
It's a mistake if it's not.
I think it has to be.
Yeah. I think when Microsoft was thinking of picking them up, or in the process of picking them up, and if you do see this, and let's say they do pull it off, and this is an amazing, like, very well, is a competitive game for the Uncharted series. Now that's something under their belt that they can like use for Microsoft, moving forward, where it could be like they could like have their exclusive kind of competitor for an Uncharted type of game, or like I don't think they really have anything set up to do any more Tomb Raider games that would be exclusive to Xbox first or anything. So I think we're gonna see more and more stuff of them trying to come up with games that will hit those certain kinds of fan base. And
so
They
I
got to
like
start
that-
doing it now.
I like that you said that this is something that Microsoft can use going forward. Because last week, when we all talked about what is Xbox missing in terms of a genre, we unanimously agreed it's a dynamic single-player story-driven game, preferably third person. Because we've got those as like Gears of War and Halo and stuff, but obviously that doesn't appeal to like.
That's more
Everybody.
of a shooter.
This is
Yeah,
something
that's
like,
more.
how many of us grew up on Indiana Jones?
Yeah,
like
all of us.
that is something that appeals to Game of New and old. Like Indiana Jones is a timeless American classic, and it's something that like it's the direct inspiration for Uncharted and for the Tomb Raider games. Like I cringed so hard when I saw somebody posted an opinion piece and was like, "Is this game just gonna rip off Uncharted?" And I'm like, "Oh Jesus fucking Christ!" Like
How old is this? How old is this kid?
Like get the fuck out of here! Like no. This was the OG, like, and I'm Indiana Jones is cooler than Nathan Drake will ever be. Like, come on, but I think the exclusivity talk it's a talk that's gonna have to happen sooner rather than later, because when they announced it, they just said coming soon. They didn't announce what platforms it's for. So
to me, it's like they can't announce anything until this deal falls through.
No, they can't. Like legally, Legally, you can't, and that's why I'm a little bit surprised that we got this now and not like. I get that it's part of the whole Lucasfilm Games thing. I'm a little surprised this wasn't held until like June. We expect the sale to go through sometime in like mid to late March, probably, like sometime in Q2, and like I've got March or April pegged personally. Like it'll be before E3 for sure, but at E3, I assume is when we're going to start learning a lot of the details of this agreement, of this purchase, and. Like, that's why, the wording is so key when you look at past things they've announced, like Starfield, coming to next gen and PC. What the fuck does next gen mean? Does that mean Xbox and PS5? Does that mean just Xbox? Like, they never formally announced it, so they have a loophole. Like, is it going to be the same thing with Indiana Jones? And I keep seeing the argument online of, well, it can't be exclusive. Disney would never allow that to be exclusive. Let me tell you something. Money talks.
Spider-Man exists.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts for the longest time.
Well, and I mean, like, I think they're talking like in terms of like how IPs are managed now. Like we are on the cusp of a golden age, a resurgence of licensed games. I think between the Indiana Jones game, Jedi Fallen Order, Massive's game that's coming. IO Interactive is making a fucking James Bond game, like,
which is exciting.
Miles Morales exists. Spider-Man exists. Like. We're living in this amazing resurgence. Now we have the technology. We can make these games we always imagined and envisioned. And I hate seeing the argument of, well, you don't want to close people off. You don't want to close off consumers. Ultimate Alliance 3 was exclusive to the Switch. Yeah. Okay? And it didn't sell. Spider-Man and Miles Morales are both exclusive. There was exclusive content for Avengers. Like, money talks, guys. And we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like I just said, like, was that part of the reason it cost $7.5 billion? It cost 2 Star Warses to buy Bethesda. Like, is that part of the reason the deal was driven up? If I'm a businessman seeing that a company is being sold that is making a licensed game for me that's unannounced, I'm going, whoa. We want to guarantee here, or we want to work this into the contract that if you're going to put it on your exclusive service and your console, we want to pay out now. Like, we want partial payout.
Also,
we want to guarantee this is profitable.
There's the argument that can be made that, let's say that this is an exclusive game. If you want to play this game, you could buy, in theory, Game Pass, and by that time you might be able to play it on your TV.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's coming this year. TV, PCs, tablets, etc.
So, like, this is part of the xCloud family, which it could be.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason you might be able to play it on your phone. Like, it's. I would say that there's an argument to be made that you could spend less on this game than if it came out on PlayStation 5 and you bought it for $60.
There is there's absolutely a legit argument to be made. Do I think that this is exclusive? I'm going to go in the camp of no. At least the first one. I personally don't think it is, because I think Microsoft sees they have two things to look at here. One, yes, we could have that amazing single player experience that people so desperately want, coming from machine games, coming from us, giving a dynamic exploration story and whatnot, akin to Uncharted or Tomb Raider. On the other hand, this is a golden opportunity to make a shitload of money back on that purchase price. Mm-hmm. And if we do this as a gesture of goodwill, maybe we don't give up Starfield. Maybe we don't put Elder Scrolls or the next Wolfenstein or something like that on another platform, because we've already extended that olive branch and said, see, it can still come to you. It just may not come day one.
Yeah, and I think a year exclusivity.
Right. And things are so weird with a licensed property, though. Like, if it comes, it's coming day one. If it goes to PlayStation, it'll be there day one. They're not going to be able to hold a licensed property.
Mm-hmm.
But think about this, though. You also are now getting a paycheck to have a studio that you own now develop one of these games. That there's no saying that they wouldn't just then take all the stuff that they've learned and make another great first-person experience that is exclusive after this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, okay, you know, if it was in development beforehand and this has been announced before the sale is complete, we're kind of in a gray area. If they come out on stage in June and say, hey, this is still going to come to PlayStation, cool. No skin off my back. I've got an Xbox. I'll have a PlayStation by then. If they come out and say, hey, this is Xbox only, I'm like, fuck yeah, there we go. Like, either way, this is coming to Game Pass. So... Yeah. Like, okay, fine. Like, I still think Wolfenstein 3, and we'll address this later, Wolfenstein 3 is coming this year. And then you got Indy probably next year. Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's their next two projects. Maybe they make a sequel to Indy down the line. Who knows? Or they take a guerrilla approach and say, okay, we're done making first/third person experiences. Let's do something completely new.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think Joe was onto something. Like, this is setting them up in terms of storytelling, because they've done great storytelling with the Wolfenstein revival. This is setting them up for that next step.
Yep.
This is a licensed IP. They've got to make a game that exists in this universe that can't ignore the movies. It can't ignore what's happened. And I think that's really, really good learning for their core storytelling team. And especially you've got Todd Howard there, like, okay, who's to say that he's not going to learn a few things working on a completely different style game than he's made before? It's not an RPG of any kind. Who's to say he can't take those lessons that he learns from overseeing this project and taking them back to ZeniMax and to Bethesda, respectively?
Mm-hmm. And with with them being under Microsoft's wing, you know, like there's also a very good possibility that we have, you know, people coming from some of the other studios, you know, helping them with certain things, you know, not necessarily building the game or anything for them, but, you know, like it's nice when you have a network of people you can talk to about things or get ideas from, or, you know, like, I just think that moving forward, like, we're already seeing some cool kind of things with some of these people in one studio interacting with some from the other that are with Microsoft, and I feel like it's been better for that, you know, in some ways. So I don't know, like, that's the thing is, like you said, I mean, going from doing Killzone to, you know, going to doing Horizon Zero Dawn, I mean, that was a big change, and they pulled it off, like, really well. So I honestly think that sometimes we don't give, you know, some of these devs credit. Like, I think that a lot of them can do way more than what we see. It's just sometimes, you know, like, once you do something well and it's doing well for you, you know, like, you kind of stick with it. You know, that's just how it is. But every once in a while we see these developers kind of step out of their safe zone and they bring some really amazing new things out. So, you know, I'm you know, like I said earlier, this thing I was a little bit more excited about, just because, like, I like when this kind of stuff happens. I like when you get something different that these good developers are left with to try to tackle. And, you know, sometimes they can fail and it doesn't turn out as well as you'd like, but I still give them a lot of credit for trying and stepping out of their safe zone and just trying to do something different. you know, instead of just continuously doing what you feel safe doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
either way, I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to see this game. Like I'm a really big Indiana Jones fan, so the fact that we're like, to me, Indiana Jones has been like a character who's just kind of fallen out of the popularity. Like he was like at 80s, early 90s kind of pop culture icon that just kind of like, he had 3 movies, right? 4 movies, I guess. We're getting
3 movies.
We're getting a 5th one, right? And like there was like
it's crazy how they just went from 3 to 5. It's crazy.
I know.
It's weird.
But like, to me, I just hope this game is really great, and like this kind of bolsters his popularity up again, because I really think that Indiana Jones is a great character, and those movies are great. Well, 2 of them are great. 2 of them are okay at best.
2 of them are great. 1 of them is fine, and I mean, we're still waiting on the 4th. So
yeah. Well,
someone tweeted at me and said, I bought the Indiana Jones trilogy, and it was really nice that they gave me a 4th disc to use as a coaster.
Yeah, it's so courteous how they do that. I mean, hey, the prequel trilogy, they give you 2 coasters with your movie.
We assume that you're going to drink.
Yeah.
Or put this in.
Yeah.
Like, my last thing I'm going to say is, like, I would argue that if, you know, like, I mean, 007 has always been popular, like, you know, James Bond and all that. Mm-hmm. But, like, ultimately, when GoldenEye came out on N64, like, even people like me who, like, did not know anything about 007 or James Bond, like, was interested in it. Mm-hmm. And, like, I could definitely see it being that type of game where if they really pull it off and it does an amazing job of just, you know, like, bringing that character back to you know, like, popularity, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah. So the last thing I kind of want to talk about is, like, how important is it that EA is no longer making exclusive Star Wars games? Probably could have talked about this after the last one, but
extremely.
Yeah, very. Now they just got to get the NFL from them too.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
For the most part. I mean, technically, we're getting a football game by someone else,
dude,
but
I downloaded.
I want it 2K to be able to make them. I want, you know, whoever. Like, I want everything to go back to being competitive, so we don't get the same piece of trash every year that it hasn't changed. You know, like, I want competition.
Dude,
again. It's ridiculous.
I downloaded the 10-hour demo or 10-hour trial of Madden 21 through EA Play. I played 5 online games. I was 4-1, and I was like, because I was really amped for, like, this is the first time I've been, like, enthusiastic about playoff football in a long time, because, like, the Browns obviously are in it, and, like, as a lifelong Browns fan, this opportunity does not come up very often to be enthusiastic about playoff football.
No, hopefully they don't leave and go to another state.
It's
let's not. But, like, I played Madden, and I was like, man, thank you, EA, for reminding me that I still don't like Madden.
How long does it take to complete a game?
Like 45 minutes.
It's too long.
Yeah.
I think them not having the exclusivity is good. I know no one company, regardless of how much you pay, should ever have an exclusive license to a massive IP like that. We were all concerned when this was announced back in 2013. We were like, oh, well, they're going to make a new Battlefront. I mean, I was 21. I was 21 at the time. And I was like, all I thought about was, oh, shit, I love Battlefront 2. I still have that for my Xbox. Like, I still play it with my buddies. Like, when people would come over to buy a part, but we'd get drunk and we'd play Battlefront 2 on the 360. It was fantastic. But then you get older, and, like, I remember friends being like, why are you taking them to task? Like, why are you so mad about Battlefront and Battlefront 2? They're like, they're gorgeous games. Like, it's not enough to be gorgeous, though, in today's day and age. If you're an intellectual property, like, if you're a third-party IP, you have to have gameplay. You have to have story. Like, we hadn't had a good Star Wars game in 15 years until Fallen Order came out. And don't anybody say, oh, Battlefront 2, though. No, Battlefront 2 got good only after we held their feet to the fire. It took Bob Iger himself calling EA, going, what the fuck is happening, to fix that game.
Yeah.
Like,
And
reviews
even
didn't fix it. Outcry on Reddit and on social media didn't fix it. It took the CEO of Disney calling. So I'm happy that they're going to continue to make games like Fallen Order. I'm thrilled. I guarantee you a Battlefront 3 is coming before this deal is up. And hey, if it's like Battlefront 2 was at the end, but better, I'm all for it. You want to do a full-on sequel to Squadrons? Give me like triple the content. Give me a story that's 2-3 times as long. Go for it. I really like Squadrons for what it was. But you having the exclusive license? Nope. It's done. It's over. I also don't want to see like a company like Ubisoft, though, like sink into, Massive is our Star Wars studio now. Like, no. You need to go pitch your game like they did for Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't let Respawn just make it. Respawn had to pitch it multiple times to the story group to get the approval. And even once they approved it, they took a person from Lucasfilm and inserted them as one of the story directors at Respawn to make sure that that game stayed on track and stayed within like the established canon. They weren't going to make the same mistake they did with Amy Hennig's game, with Visceral's game. Like, they weren't leaving EA to decide, this isn't what we want. Lucasfilm was like, no, this is what we want. This is the game our fans want and that we want to deliver. And thank God it did.
You know what the game we need, Josh?
Oh God.
We need the Rayman team to make an R2D2 platformer, because it is canon that he can fly.
It is. It is in fact canon. We speculated on Thursday about like some of the teams we'd like to see make games, and I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out hope that KOTOR 3 is a thing.
That'd be great.
I just am.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I'm not going to dwell on this too much because we've already gone way too long on this topic, but one of the things I was bringing up with Corey was...
That's not true.
If Xbox is really trying to get back to being the place for Western RPGs and for like FPS style games, I think having KOTOR in your arsenal is a no-brainer. That's also, it's a unique game. Like, they don't have that kind of RPG anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to do it, I think you would have to remake, not remaster, you would have to remake 1 and 2 because those games are 15 years old. They play like dog shit now. And they have not aged well in the gameplay department, in my opinion. I tried playing them and I couldn't.
No,
everything's way.
They play better on phones and tablets at this point than they do on Xbox.
They do, and like if you're gonna play it, I urge you to play it on an iPad at this point. But if you were to remake those, a la Final Fantasy VII Remake or even Resident Evil 2 style, holy hell, you have an instant like multi-million seller on your hands day one. Like, I would love to see that, and you don't even have to get BioWare involved. Like, you can do it with Obsidian. And I say that like Obsidian doesn't already have like 6 projects going on, but I've thought for a very long time that they have that the secret project that they have is something Star Wars related. Even if it's not Knights of the Republic, I want a Star Wars RPG of some kind. It can be from them. I don't even want it to be. It doesn't even have to be exclusive. Like, I just want it with somebody who understands the franchise and who understands how to make a good RPG. Give it to Larian if you need to. That's seen itself now with Baldur's Gate 3 and did Divinity. Give them Star Wars. Holy shit. Yeah. Give it to them. Give it to Spiders. Give it to I know we're going back to exclusive, but In Exile. Like, give it to a smaller team that is going to treat it with the care and respect that it deserves.
Yeah. Well, because that's, ultimately the issue with those originals. They were great games, but they were rushed. And, there was a lot of issues with them. And, back in the day,
especially that the second one was definitely rushed.
Second one was the one.
The second one was rushed. The first one.
Yeah.
Nah.
The first one, was fine. But,
I mean, totally from a different studio too. They only did it after BioWare said we're not doing a sequel.
I would love a remake of that first one.
It's
absolutely.
Just one of the best stories, even if it's not canon. Like the fall and redemption and the plot twist of Revan is just incredible. And And then you have I mean, God, like we went over this, but I mean, you got HK-47, you got Kandor Sordo, you've got Darth Malak, you've got Bastilla, like you've got all these amazing characters. And going back to the point we made during the Massive conversation, it was away from established canon, but it still felt familiar in that universe. And that's what it has to be. We saw it like 4,000 years before the movies. There's numerous Jedi and Sith like fighting each other in this great war. It's following the Mandalorian Wars. Like that's incredible. Yeah. Show me that, but in 4K 60 frames.
Yeah.
Do it.
I definitely agree. I mean, it's like we always say about like Nintendo sometimes, like when they don't like redo a game or port something over, it's like you're just throwing money away. You know, I mean, there's so many people are fans of those games that it would just be ridiculous not to try to do something with it, you know. I mean, people have wanted it for so long now.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to hit this next topic, or do we just want to go straight to questions?
What's the next topic?
Xbox has 30 console launch exclusives this year with more to announce.
We'll make it quick.
They also reportedly have 2 games that are unannounced for 2021. So hold on, let me pull up this what do you call it, this link here.
I've got it pulled up.
All right. Well, Josh, then you hit me with it.
Okay, so
hit me with your best shot.
I'm gonna fly through these. If anybody has one that they want to talk about, we'll talk about. We're skipping Halo Infinite though, because we've talked about that ad nauseum.
What?
Yes, Joe, we're skipping Halo.
What about what about Halo Infinite?
Sounds interesting. I'm
Get
interested.
Corey off the show. Adios.
See ya.
The Artful Escape. The Ascent.
The Ascent looks cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It looks different.
Yeah.
I dig that. It's an isometric shooter. I dig it.
Yeah. Looks super cool.
The Big Con. This was one of the ones we saw in the ID at Xbox montage last summer.
It looks like Toe Jam and Earl, but
I love this. Like this is spoiled. This is one of my most anticipated games of the year. Your family owns a video store. I'm so here for it. It's set in the 90s. Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited.
A game that I'm convinced is vaporware at this point, and I would absolutely be sold on that notion if I hadn't played the alpha. Crossfire X.
Oh,
is this like the Remedy the Remedy first person shooter?
I enjoyed the multiplayer. It needed a lot of balancing, and the spawning was really, really bad, but it was more fast paced than Call of Duty, so I enjoyed it. But I'm always here for a Remedy story. Who isn't? Especially an exclusive one, or a timed exclusive, excuse me. Like, this was barely punted out of last year, so I gotta think this is spring.
Do you know whatever happened to that game? I want to say it was like a small team working on it, where it was basically a shooter, like Halo, but it had the portals.
Oh, that came out already. That came out that came out on PC like a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
but it was only PC though, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Dead Static Drive.
It looks kind of like Tremors to me.
Dead Static.
Weird. Yeah.
It sounds cool to me. You drive along Route 666.
Yeah, there's like sandworms that pop out of it. At least it looks.
Yeah.
I can dig it. Echo Generation. I played the demo of this from the Game Awards. I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of like a Stranger Things style RPG in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's what it
and I think that's probably why I don't vibe with it a whole lot.
Yeah. I never really got into Stranger Things. I don't get it.
Yeah. Exomecha is it's the free to play mech shooter game that we got previewed last summer too.
It looks like a mix between like Pacific Rim, Transformers, and Titanfall. I'm
here for it.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be big, dumb, and fun, and it's free. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Exo 1.
I don't remember this one.
I don't either. Strange Signal, Alien Craft. It's a gravity-defying interplanetary journey through space and time that's part of a narrative that unfolds around you. Master a unique traversal system and move through desolate alien landscapes in ways you've never experienced, using gravity and momentum to reach colossal speeds and heights. It features atmospheric, diffused visuals that are merged with otherworldly sound effects and a hypnotic electric guitar soundtrack to create something otherworldly. That's a whole bunch of words for we don't know what we're doing yet.
Well, it looks like. Did you guys ever watch Flight of the Navigator?
Yeah.
Yes.
It kind of looks like a spaceship that like changes its shape depending on what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It looks visually it looks interesting, but I don't know if it'll be able to hold my interest for very long.
Yeah.
This is one of those, like, if it came to Game Pass, I would probably play it, but I'll wait for like some footage and reviews.
Yeah.
The Gunk, I'm really excited for this one.
This is the one by the SteamWorld team, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This looks beautiful. I really want to play this game.
I want to listen to the soundtrack.
That too. Malo Minfament.
What's that? Can we go into that?
No.
I think you are like some sort of super soldier, and you are stranded on a planet to fight some what you would say a covenant of alien races.
I can tell you that I'm ready to get into that, if you know what I mean.
Next, we have The Last Stop, which sounds interesting. It's an anthology game with 3 different stories in it. I like those kinds of games. Lake, another one that I really like. Little Witch in the Woods.
Looks like a
Medium.
Zelda-esque. The Little Witch in the Woods looks like a Zelda-esque.
Yeah, ultimate goal is to learn master witchery by learning potions as an apprentice and gathering materials from across the land. I can dig that. The Medium, I think we're all looking forward to playing this one.
Yeah. Every time I see that, I'm like, is this a Silent Hill game?
Okay, so I want to read what this is. So what I understand is there's no combat in the game. It's all puzzle based. Travel to an abandoned communist resort.
That's where I get all my resorts are communist resorts.
Use your unique psychic abilities to uncover deeply disturbing secrets, solve dual reality puzzles, survive encounters with spirits, and explore 2 realities at the same time. You'll delve into a mature and morally ambiguous story where nothing is as it seems and everything has another side. You can see, hear, and experience more than others, and with every new perspective, you will change your perception of what happened at the resort.
That sounds like the footnote for the book I'm writing about myself, my autobiography.
Flight Sim, I think that we're all at least wanting to just see this running on an Xbox.
I will take one flight. And then I'll
this is something I could see, if I don't know what I want to play in an evening, just booting this up and flying around. I want to fly over Disney World. That's the main thing.
I'm gonna land in Disney World.
I want to land in the bus parking area of the Magic Kingdom.
You know what I want to do? I want to fly through the Contemporary Resort where the monorails go in.
I wonder if it would let you do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of want to do that. Can I land at Harry Potter World?
Can I land on
top? Could you land in Galaxy's Edge?
That'd be cool.
It's going to be just a whole stream of Corey and I trying to land little planes in specific locations in Disney World.
That'd be awesome.
Let's see, Psychonauts 2, but that's coming to everything.
I can't wait. I'm excited for Psychonauts 2.
I'm so excited for this. I love the original Psychonauts. One of my favorite OG Xbox games.
I've been thinking about replaying the first one because it's been a long time.
It is backwards compatible now.
It is. I have it digitally.
RPG time. This absolutely sounds like something I'm going to play. Meet us an empty classroom for a grand adventure with a young aspiring game developer and his very own RPG. You'll be dazzled by hand-drawn creations as you journey into the surprising and magical world of imagination. That sounds like a D&D style game, and I'm absolutely here for it. Sable. Scorn. Another one. I don't believe this is actually coming this year. I'll be shocked if it makes it.
And how is Scorn not a Geiger game? It looks exactly like Alien.
That's what I was thinking too. When they first started showing the teaser trailer at the third-party showcase last spring, Ray and I were watching it. We're like, oh my god, it's a new Alien game. Oh my god. And then we're like, oh, wait, the fuck is this?
I mean, it's definitely heavily inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks like they copied and pasted Prometheus.
Mhm.
Yeah, which I'm all for, man. I loved that first Prometheus movie.
I'll play this. I believe it's coming to Game Pass, so I'll be playing it. She Dreams Elsewhere.
Looks like a Nintendo or Game Boy game.
Yeah. I kind of like that we're getting back to that style of game, but it's like when I play that, I'm like, I feel like I should be playing this on my Switch instead.
I agree.
Shredders.
The game looks awesome.
Dude, listen, the first line of the description, inspired by classic snowboarding game Amped. That's all I needed.
You know who's working?
Yeah.
You know, there's people working on this game who developed Cool Borders, Amped, and SSX.
Dude,
all working on this game.
Nice. I loved Cool Borders too. That was like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Cool Borders.
With the delay of Riders Republic until later this year, which basically guarantees I'm not going to be playing it at launch, I'm excited to play Shredders.
Yeah.
Song of Iron. This game is really cool.
It looks good.
Yeah, I got to play it as part of the Game Awards demo showcase that they did. It's really cool. It's unique. It's like a 2D God of War almost in a lot of ways. Like or Valhalla, like Viking style game, whatever you want to call it. Like this was dope. I don't know if I'll play it when it comes out. It may be a sale game because like I don't think a demo is enough to judge. But I really liked the concept of it. Tunic.
I'm so excited for it.
I've been waiting for Tunic for too long now.
It's been a really long time, but every time they come back to it, it looks better.
This is a game that gives me memories of playing like Minish Cap on my Game Boy. Like this is the kind of like exploration style, like top-down adventure that I want. And I mean, come on, you play as a cute little fox. Like who doesn't want to play this game?
Exactly.
12 minutes, probably the thing I'm most excited for on this list outside of Malo. Still with James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Really, really, really want to see this one come out and just hope to God that it's good.
So if you watch the trailer at about a minute 30 in, the doors open and you can see the carpet from The Shining in the doorway.
Oh no.
Which really gives me hope about this game.
I hope so. So, like, I mean, just the premise alone is great. Romantic evening with your wife turns into a violent invasion as a man breaks into your home, accuses your wife of murder, and beats you to death, only for you to wake up and find yourself stuck in the same 12-minute loop. That is just so unique, and this is from Annapurna, I believe, which I haven't played a game of theirs that I haven't liked yet. Unexplored 2? I don't know if we know what the first Unexplored was.
Just like Indiana Jones, just skipped a number.
Yeah, it's another like top down, like kind of Zelda-esque type of game, but it looks like it reminds me of more the Breath of the Wild kind of like almost art style, but in a top down version, which wasn't the original Breath of the Wild done in like a top down originally, and then they brought it into 3D.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Well, because I thought there is a whole game. There's like literally was a whole game that they made where it was all in the more like the old school version.
That was in Hyrule Warriors. There was a 2D open world style thing in Hyrule Warriors. It wasn't Breath of the Wild.
No, I think I've heard. I believe what Jess is talking about, that when they were developing the game. Yeah. They were developing it originally as a like top-down game.
They mapped it out in 2D, but they never actually did the programming.
Oh.
Yeah, it was never made in a 2D game.
Warhammer Darktide. Does anybody play Warhammer games?
So every time I see a Warhammer trailer, I get kind of into it, and I'm like, this seems like I could get into this, and I've never played a Warhammer game.
This feels like the first one that I will actually play. Based on this sentence alone, built on the legacy of Vermintide 2's highly praised melee combat, Darktide introduces deep and balanced gunplay to the mix. Master the balance between ranged and melee combat as you fight your way through a slew of enemies feeling the impact of every swing of your chainsword or blazing gunfire from your las gun.
It looks like Riddick.
And it is a day one Game Pass game. So
Nice.
I would play this. Visceral
Yeah.
4-player co-op action game. That's all I needed to hear.
Sounds like Left 4 Dead, but in space.
Basically. Way to the Woods, The Wild at Heart, and Yakuza Remastered Collection, as well as Yakuza 6 coming. But they just mentioned that those are coming to Game Pass. So
Yeah.
but yeah, there's
a lot.
That is a lot.
There's nothing
My-
big there that's going to make you buy a console, right? I mean, a Halo, I guess, but like,
Well, Melo, yeah.
That's the major thing, and that's what I'm getting to is they're obviously like they made it really clear, like, hey, this is just stuff that's announced already, like, and on paper, like, that's really cool. Like, for their indie initiative, that's an awesome slate. Tunic,
Yeah.
12 minutes, Song of Iron, like Echo Generation. I've heard people talk nonstop about those since they were shown. Like, oh my god, I want to play these games right now, and I agree.
Yeah.
Like Shredders, I will look forward to Shredders for quite a while now. I got delayed out of last year. I want to play Crossfire really bad.
Yeah,
But-
as someone who like consumes story driven games mostly in the indie department, like whenever it's an indie game, I'm usually more likely to actually give it a shot. And so for me, like this lineup is like just it speaks to me for sure. But
Right. And it's like the most noticeable thing looking at this is the lack of Microsoft games.
Mhm.
And I think it's very much by design. That's not exactly great when you go, hey, look at all these exclusives we have coming. It's like, well, where are your exclusives? We have Halo and we have Flight Sim on there. Come on, guys. Like
the gunk.
Again, that's not a Microsoft
I know.
game.
I'm just
Yeah.
joshing.
Like you look at this and like so many of these are really cool games. Like you said the gunk. Like Stalker 2 is one that's not on this list that like may or may not be this year that I'm looking forward to. But it goes back to what we were saying a couple weeks ago. The first 6 months are going to be real rough if you're looking for a AAA reason to buy this console. You got to make it to summer, and then I think that's when you're going to start getting the floodgate open.
Yeah.
well, I'm
so-
curious when Grounded's going to be released as a version 1.0, because like I mean because they've been working on that for a long time
They
now.
said even with the latest update, they only have like 40% of the content in there.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's still quite a ways off.
Yeah.
Speaking of Xbox Game Studios games, Xbox reportedly has at least two big unannounced games for 2021. I'm just gonna read this article real quick. A developer at DICE added to this by suggesting the company has, quote, quite a few games still to announce for 2021. And now Windows Central editor and noted Xbox insider Jez Corden also clarified what he knows. Quote, the list did say that it was all the announced games, as if to say more was coming too. And I know that at least two games, big games, that aren't on that list that are coming from Xbox in 2021. Jez made these comments on the latest episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, where he also explained that he didn't want to, quote, ruin the team's surprise, as he believes the developers should get to announce it first. It says, when it comes to stuff that I don't think will leak, I think it's much cooler if the announcement comes as part of a surprise, part of a big show, and the teams get to announce it themselves. And then previously suggested by reliable insider Jeff Grubb, thinks that Forza Horizon 5 might arrive in 2021.
Horizon 5 is a pretty safe bet, I think, even though they teased Forza
Motorsport.
Next last year. Yeah, they teased Motorsport last year, but the impression that I got from seeing that was that it was just going into development. I mean, of course, they could surprise us and, oh, hey, that comes out this year. But I think if Horizon 5 doesn't come out this year, we're probably not seeing another Horizon until at least 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Microsoft wants that. Like, they know the crazy good reception that Horizon has had this past generation with 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have some unannounced expansions, which is entirely possible for 4. It's simply just, that makes sense. As for the other unannounced games, like, I don't know what they like. So
I mean, Compulsion's game, I guess, would be one, but that I wouldn't really consider that big.
So when Jez says unannounced, does that just mean unannounced for this year or unannounced period? That's my question, like in the wording.
It seems like he meant this year because he said that they wanted to announce it during like a big show. So my guess is around E3 time. They
Also,
probably want to.
Right, but I'm saying, is this a game? Are these games we already know about?
No.
Or
Also,
are they brand new?
Does this include the Bethesda games also now?
I feel like that would be a really cheap way to get out of it because like everybody and their mother under the sun, like me included, thinks that Wolfenstein 3 is one of the unannounced games.
I mean, it is, right? They keep saying They've openly said Wolfenstein 3 is happening, right? Like they just haven't formally announced it.
It's been in development for a few years. Like unless Indiana Jones just comes out of nowhere and somehow releases this year, which I will do something insane if that happens. I don't think it's happening.
My knees will get dirty for Disney.
Yeah, there'd be some inappropriate things going on this show.
As opposed to what normally happens.
Take it as unannounced games. I would say probably Wolfenstein and, I mean, I guess Compulsion's game, but I don't think Compulsion's game is anywhere near ready to come out. I think this is much more towards these are games that we know about, or it's a partnership with somebody that like we're not going to guess.
Speaking of Compulsion, did you see that We Happy Few has an Xbox Series X enhancement edition?
Did it make the game playable or like bearable?
I don't know. I didn't play the game, so I don't know. But I'm like, that game is like really old to be getting an update. Like, what are they doing? Yeah. What are they doing?
I don't know, man. Like the games I could definitely see like. So the most logical way to say this is, it's talking about Wolfenstein 3 and Forza Horizon 5. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're talking about unannounced. If you're talking about announced, I think there's a distinct chance that it could be referring to Everwild and one of the millions of RPGs that they now own.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get a Series SX update to the original first Doom game? Thank you.
What, like
the one before Eternal?
Oh, I thought you meant like the original.
No, the one before Eternal. I mean the
like
the
Doom
first
2016.
Yeah, I want that remastered and redone and with ray tracing.
Well, isn't Wolfenstein 2 and Prey getting Series X enhancements too? Wasn't that like a big deal that like PlayStation 5 wasn't getting them, but Xbox was?
No, the big deal with those was that I think the bundles were available for Series X and not for PlayStation. You had to still individually buy them. You could get them bundled at a discounted price though for Xbox.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they actually got the enhancements. The only ones that I know that have enhancements coming down the pipeline are Doom Eternal, Fallout 4, and Elder Scrolls Online.
Well,
are all set to get them.
There's a Polygon article that says Wolfenstein 2 Dishonored and Prey collections rated for Xbox Series X, according to the ESRB.
Yeah, it's already available, I believe.
Oh.
Have you guys played Prey?
No.
I did. I played a little bit of it. I was a fan of the original one.
It's not that. Yeah, it's I think it's a really good game. Like it is. I don't know. I really like almost everything about that game. If you haven't played it, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I loved the original first one and all of its cheesiness and like fun.
All the
I loved that game. And then I found out about the After Midnight Project or whatever, the band that plays the song for the final credits. I found out about them because of finishing that game. And I actually like their music a lot. They're really good, but yeah, I've only played a little bit of it. The new one though. But.
All right, guys, we're gonna get into these questions. Remember, you can tweet at us at ArsenalX Podcast. Join our Discord. Comment in there. Comment your question, or email us at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com. Just like Eric Hathaway did. He says, "Hey guys, what XGS IP do you think we will see come out this year besides Halo?" I mean, we kind of just talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We kind of talked about Forza, I guess. I think Everwild, actually, Josh, now that you brought it up, I keep forgetting about that game, but also I'm excited. Every time I see it, I'm excited for it. Like, I think that's kind of a decent candidate for this year, honestly.
It's one of the only ones we actually saw, like, running last year. Like, we didn't see actual gameplay, but we saw, like, clearly in engine, and it was not a conceptual trailer.
Right.
I feel like Everwild is probably the safe money, but again, I'm not really sure where that fits in. Like, if it's coming out this year and you're not talking about it, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I get that we're just a couple weeks into the year, but I feel like that's something that has to be addressed now. And maybe Microsoft is a little gun shy to announce things because last year, a lot of the stuff that came out, sure, we had delays within the year because of COVID. This is the year you're going to start seeing those big delays. Hogwarts Legacy already got pushed out of this year. And Jason Schreier has already said, like, hey, this is just the first one. Like, there are a lot more that are going to come. Like, other people in the industry who know this backwards and forwards are like, there are a lot more AAA games that will get pushed. I know a lot of us think Ragnarok is getting pushed out of this year. I wouldn't be shocked to see Horizon pushed basically to the brink. You know, I still think that is coming out this year since we've seen it running. But like Ratchet and Clank is no longer dated as like a launch window title. That's just 2021 now. So Gran Turismo doesn't even have a date for this year. We just assume that that's this year. So I think there's a lot of things you're going to see pushed out of this year or pushed later. Everwild is one of the ones I feel like could withstand that. And I think Microsoft buying Bethesda bought them a big cushion too. Like, oh, Bethesda probably, like in our assumption, has Wolfenstein and then in mine, like has Starfield almost ready to go. You could have those as two of your big tent poles alongside Halo this year and be perfectly fine. But I think Microsoft really wants to have that, hey, games. So whether that means throwing Horizon 5 out there or getting Everwild out like in September, you have a potentially killer lineup in the back half of this year. It's just not happening before July.
What do you guys think about something that Ninja Theory is working on? Whether it's Project Mara or Hellblade?
My understanding is that Mara is at least 2022 because it's still experimental and they don't even quite know what kind of game they want to make with it yet.
Yeah, plus like them not being in the studio probably disrupts those conversations.
Hellblade, I think, is still quite a ways off as well. I think that was probably slated for this fall, but there's no question that COVID fucked them. That's a game that's going to rely so much on mocap and on performance capture. So like,
she did post some stuff on Instagram about her getting back in the motion capture stuff. So
if you're starting to do mocap now, God, that game could be anywhere from 12 to 18 months away.
Yeah.
Like at best, especially when it's the main person still suiting up. I mean, Last of Us 2 finished mocap almost a year before release, I think.
I was thinking like probably March of 2022.
Yeah, I think that's a spring game next year. When we didn't get any new footage at all last year, and all we got was a like literally 50-second dev diary, and we've heard nothing since. I assume this game is not coming out in 2021.
Yeah, I think that's the real takeaway. Is it's just like it's been radio silence on it, so it's
on
hard
a lot
to
of
assume.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of things, and that's why I think both Sony and Microsoft, and of course Nintendo has always done this, are hesitant to announce release dates because they don't want to keep getting seen as, hey, we got a punt, especially after pushing
that Cyberpunk.
I mean, that's why
they don't want to.
Nobody wants to be the next Cyberpunk.
I mean, look at everything Nintendo did last year. Everything that they announced last year, they announced it and released it within 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So
and I think right now you have to.
Yeah, and especially after them, like what everything that happened with Metroid Prime 4, like, at this point they've kind of just gotta, like make sure things are like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that kind of like lit a fire underneath them to be like, hey, we better just be a little bit more. Cautious and know what's going on first before we announce anything.
Microsoft's always been bad about it too. They announced Quantum Break 3 years before it came out.
Yeah.
You can't afford that with your big IPs anymore. Like Halo Infinite, by the time it comes out, it will have gone through 3 E3s. Like combined. Like we simply just at least 3. Excuse me, this will be the 4th one.
What 2018? Yeah. So 2018, 2019.
We got a teaser in 2018. We got him waking up in space and putting the helmet on in 2019. Last year we got the gameplay. We got Craig last year. And then we get the game.
Craig.
4 E3s. Like, man, 4 E3s. Like, that's Last of Us 2 style long.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Everwild is well on the
too,
way
though.
to being there too.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew that buying this box that we weren't going to get any games until at least next fall. So I mean, whatever.
Well, we would get games, but we just wouldn't be getting these massive things that every single person wants.
I
to
meant
play.
like AAA, like major tentpole things.
Yeah.
So, all right, our next question comes from Michael Thornburg. He says, "Hey guys, what would you like to see from Game Pass this year? It's already an incredible deal, but is there some sort of evolution you would like to see? Thanks." I mean, I'm fine with Game Pass where it's at, right? Like, I don't know. I think it's I think it's really good. I mean, I would like to see maybe some older back catalog games appear on there, I guess. Maybe some original Xbox IP like Brute Force. Where's my Brute Force game, guys?
I would play through Brute Force now, just to remember. I have around here somewhere. I have the official Xbox magazine where it says it's the Halo Killer, or the next Halo, I think they call it. It's like, nope.
No. I still think that the one thing that they need to do sooner than later, until storage is no longer an issue, is they need to bake xCloud into some of these games and give you the option to just play them right there off of Game Pass.
I mean, that's coming
Xbox
though, right?
Too.
That's supposedly coming at some point.
Is it
this year?
Okay, they did. Okay.
Yeah, they're trying
because like I think that's the only thing for me that Game Pass is missing right now. I can't just play games that I want to try out without having to download them, and if I want to download them right now, I've got to delete games.
I mean, that's how it works on mobile.
Yeah.
So, like, just imagine that, but coming to it, and Phyllis said it'll
and
be
having
coming
a straight connection to the internet. Like that's the problem right now. Is doing it through Wi-Fi is not as reliable. Doing it through your internet, like your phone service is not as reliable of a connection as having it directly, the internet plugged directly into it. So,
I think what I'd want to see is if this year is really going to be as slow as we're kind of anticipating, at least for the first half, I want to see a killer third-party deal. Like, give me 2 or 3 major third-party games that came out like back half of last year. That would just be like, I don't know, like system sell, because you're never going to hit the high that you had with like when you put Grand Theft Auto 5 on there.
You know, it'd be a great Game Pass game.
Came back.
Now that you say that, it'd be a great Game Pass game. Would be Immortals.
So I feel like they could do that. I think if they were to take an open world IP from Ubisoft, though, I think it would be Valhalla, just because of the name recognition. But I selfishly, I would like Immortals because I haven't gotten to play it, and I don't know if I want to buy it yet.
Don't buy the Switch version.
I'm still gonna hold. I'm gonna hold to my prediction that I think Far Cry 6 is gonna come to Game Pass day one.
That would be cool.
I think they know they need a major deal or two, and they'd be willing to eat the cost if they needed to. Just be like, hey, this game's only going to be on here for 3 months. We're going to Red Dead Redemption 2 it. Far Cry 6 will be available for the summer. We're gonna launch it in when's the new release date? Like mid-May or something. We're gonna drop it in May. We're gonna take it away. We're gonna give you the exact date. We're gonna take it away in August. We're gonna give it to you for the summer, like we did with Red Dead. I mean, we had Grand Theft Auto for 6 months. They took that away, gave us Red Dead. I think Grand Theft Auto was coming back. They did one of their little email marketing things where like, oh, we're gonna blurt the name of the game out, but this and that, that they like to post to Twitter. And it was something returning like, oh, people got really upset when we took this away, but they were really excited because we gave them that other game in exchange. And well, that basically refers to, hey, you did that with Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead. Put GTA 5 on there, people will come to it. If they still somehow don't have it, the player base just skyrocketed in that game overnight when it was on Game Pass for heists and whatnot. Other than that, I mean, Yakuza 7 is probably the other one, like Dragon.
Well, I think the day that
just makes sense. That's a given.
I think that the day that drops on PlayStation 5, the updated version of it, that comes to Game Pass.
And I guess really the only other one is, and this all depends on when the agreement is up, which I think is end of February, beginning of March, for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Going to stick to what Corey said a couple of weeks ago, where he thinks that'll be a day one game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got to have big third-party games. So you got to have games that people want, that the Xbox crowd hasn't had or hasn't been compelled to buy yet. Been like, okay, it's part of the subscription now. Like, it's just too good of a deal. I got to do it. I got a couple months to blow through this before it goes away. If I'm Microsoft, I'm making all these 3 and 4 month deals until my games are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm looking at like your Amazon Prime and your Hulu models, where right now you can get AMC Plus or whatever for a certain amount a month, or you can get it at a discounted price by buying it as a channel through Prime or through Hulu. So I could see them eventually trying to do something like that, where now if you want Ubisoft Plus, you can get it through Game Pass at a discounted price for like $3 a month, or all these companies that are making their own streaming services for games come out. I could see them trying to do that. Like, you could have your option to have it stand alone on anything or on PC or whatever, but to bring it to the console and make it more accessible, they can kind of do that where instead of searching everywhere for that app, you can go right into your Game Pass and be like, yeah, I'd like to add this service to my Game Pass. Boom, it's done. Now I got 50 to 100 more games that are in my Game Pass that I can pick from. Like, I could see them doing something like that eventually too, is just, if again, the Netflix or Amazon Prime model is going to be, mimicked moving forward. I mean, that stuff is happening a lot now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I want to see a greater discount when games come to Game Pass, if there's DLC that's not included, or like some sort of consumable content. Like, so when Grand Theft Auto is there, like, they should have a discount when you can buy the credit cards and stuff. Like, I would like to see a better incentive to make a purchase when an item's on Game Pass, or if it's a Microsoft owned, if I have Game Pass.
I like saying there, because I like that Microsoft included the Hivebusters DLC for Gears 5 for free if you had Game Pass. Like, I think you're going to see that a lot more with Microsoft owned properties.
It's Game Pass. It's only Game Pass Ultimate though.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's fine.
who's really paying for console Game Pass and it's not Game Pass Ultimate? Like, let's be completely honest.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
It
But that's still like that further accentuates like what a good deal it is. I'd like to see more perks. Like,
yeah, well,
they give
what
us.
if? Oh, I was gonna just say really quick. What if they started doing more of this stuff linked to the Game Pass rewards stuff, where like if you spend so much amount of time or like you 100% a game that you got in Game Pass or whatever, that you can like actually, if you do enough in the regular game, you can actually unlock the expansion for free, through actually putting the work and time into, just because like the main thing about Game Pass is like these people want you to play their games, right? And the more that the game is played, the more money they're getting from Microsoft. And if they're getting more money from Microsoft because people are playing their games, they can then afford to do reward people for actually playing their game through to completion, to actually getting then the expansion free, or like just something. I mean, just like have it where people feel more willing to try to finish these games in Game Pass instead of just trying them and then deleting them and trying something else and then deleting it and trying something else and delete, like just a way to make it better for everyone, I think would be kind of interesting too.
So what I kind of want to see is I want to see more perks that we get, like with for example, they give like Warframe and like World of Tanks stuff away and stuff. Give us stuff for games that people actually play.
Yeah, like when Halo comes out, give us some kind of cool.
Give me some rec packs for Halo. Like we got a Forza Horizon pack. We got an Overcooked DLC for free, which my girlfriend was super happy to have. We've gotten a lot of Sea of Thieves cosmetics. Like I'd like to see like what the agreement they have with Bungie. Like we know they had a talk with Bungie last summer. Like what was that about? Was that about an indefinite continuation of expansions? Was it about Matter, or was it about some Game Pass perks similar to Twitch Prime, where you get a bundle every month or something? Like maybe you get like 200 silver, or 200 or 300 silver, and a few cosmetics or something, like three or four times a year. Like that would be really cool to me. I would really like that. You give us something like that, or you partner up with some of these third-party devs and you get a mini DLC or some quest packs or something. Like hypothetically, had Cyberpunk launched well, and maybe part of the deal with them for promoting it had been, oh, we're going to give you like the first expansion at like half off or something like that. Like give me some perks like that. Like I like that you did the Spotify thing. I like that you did the Disney Plus thing for new subs. Give us something that a lot of us will use. Like, give me a map pack. Give me a map pack for Call of Duty or something. Give me, I don't know. Like, I'm just spitballing here. Like, give us something that's like for a lot of people, but that equals that $10 or $15 value. Like, it's like, oh shit, I was gonna buy this anyways, but this is included as part of my sub. Like, it's canceling itself out for this month. I like things like that. Like, I've been getting all the Phantasy Star Online packs for the last year because when New Genesis comes out, I want to give it a shot. I'm going to have all these ridiculous XP boosters now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love it. But selfishly, give me stuff for games that I play. Give me some Warzone shit. Give me some Apex stuff. Like,
or if they do that thing like they did, like you were talking about the Spotify and the Disney Plus things. Like if I already have those, like let me turn those in for Game Pass. Rewards points or something, because I'm not going to be able to use it.
I mean, that's probably a legality thing, though.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
True. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's because that is such a bummer. Because almost every single thing so far that we've gotten like that, I haven't been able to use because I either already have it or it's not something that I use. So it's just I've. Like all those perk stuff has been pretty useless for me.
All right. Well, is there anything else we need to hit on before we head on out of here? Because I think
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think we hit on everything. We got everything in. We got all the questions. Remember, you can email us at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at arsenalxpodcast. You can join our Discord. A lot of fun in there. Also, Arsenal X is the only people in the Boss Rush Games Discord. I want to thank everybody for watching here on Twitch. We've had quite the viewership tonight. So if you're watching on Twitch, hit that follow, hit the heart, whatever the heart says. What is it? Follow. Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe. If you're listening on podcast services, leave us a nice review. Like us, share us with your friends, do all that stuff. Second week in a row, gentlemen. Great stats. I was sharing it with Joe. So great job, everybody. Proud of you. 2021 is off to a great start here on Arsenal X. So
it is.
Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS, and I just wanted I promoted this on Boss Rush episode, but I'm gonna hopefully this month be doing a episode with the ladies over at Bad Bitches Podcast, and I'm so looking forward to. We're gonna do one of their drunkumentary episodes where that's a show where they watch a watch a movie and talk about it. And I talked them into watching Ichi the Killer, and I am so excited for them because they have no idea what they walked into. So,
Wow.
yeah, that should be hopefully coming up at some point this month, released or at the end of the month. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Joe, where can we find you?
Should follow me on Twitter. Check those show notes for more details.
I'm just gonna like screen cap the way you look into the camera when you say that, because
Uh-huh.
it looks like you're trying not to laugh as you say it.
That would be factually accurate.
You're just like you're like a kid who knows he did something wrong, and you're like giggling, trying not to say what
I
it is.
feel like every time we get to this point, there's the problem of being like, am I going to spell it out? Am I going, like, in the easiest way is to just click a link.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Josh, where can we find
Of course, every Thursday night and Friday at some point during the day, whenever Corey's able to post it, you can find me on the Tower Casuals Destiny podcast, and on Twitter and Twitch as @Josh_Finn with 2 N's. Count them, 2 N's. We're finishing up Control this week, and then God knows what. I got to find another game since fucking Outriders got delayed.
Oh, did it? Oh, I missed that.
Outriders got punted to the end of April.
you? Yeah.
Okay.
So
The delays are happening, folks.
they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But
So you can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on various shows like the Boss Rush podcast and Tower Casuals with Josh. You can find all of our content on the Boss Rush Network at bossrushgames.com and on our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review, and follow wherever you consume this show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next week, we love you. Goodbye.
It's on.
What's the matter? You hurt?
Hey, bro.